Hi, I'm Hadari P.T. Brown. I'm here to talk to you about absentee voting and early voting. There's a difference between the two. Many of us think absentee voting is early voting, but early voting is really when you actually go to a polling site, not the city clerk's office, but an actual polling site, and you're able to vote early. You're able to not fill out a form saying you want an absentee ballot or the reason why you won't be at your polling precinct. You go in and you vote early. Just show your ID or your voter registration card, and you vote early. You vote as if you're actually voting on election day. Absentee voting, you actually have to fill out a form either because you're 60 years or older. You won't be at your polling site. You'll be incarcerated on election day for some reason, but it's not a felony or something like that. And it's a bunch of more reasons, but the reality is we can't sit here and think both of them are the same. There's a difference between absentee voting and early voting. But the real thing is both will be counted on election day. No matter if you early vote or absentee vote, your vote will be counted. Some people consider absentee voting as a part of early voting, but in reality it's not necessarily early voting. If you are actually absentee voting has always been there. It has always been around. People have always been allowed to vote absentee. It was actually set up for senior citizens, college students who won't be in their area, and working people who won't be in their polling precinct, or those who work the polls who won't be in their polling precinct. While early voting is something relatively new that started in 2000 after the 2000 election, and it has actually worked in many states. The problem that hasn't worked is many of these states who have early voting have electronic voting, and electronic voting machines are not working half the time, and that's the problem with early voting, because they have electronic machines that don't produce any paper. They are paperless electronic machines. So if we want to fix our voting process and our election process, then we have to get machines. If we don't use machines, we have to have a paper trail. That's the reality of it. Plus, electronic voting can be hacked. But I'm not getting into all that right now. What I want to talk to you about is just early voting, absentee voting. Two separate things, and I want you, the American people, to know that. Both of them are good resolutions as long as our voting process is actually tweaked and corrected and made better. We should not be having as many voting problems as we have today after 4 years since 2004 in Ohio, when so many election problems took place. Right now across America there still are election problems. I don't understand it, and I'm not trying to understand it, because it's the fault of us, the people, and the American government, who have not got it right. We have not got it right, and as much as we want to sit here and complain now, the reality is, after this election, what are we going to do to correct it for 2010? What are we going to do to correct it for 2012, 2014, 2016, and so on and so on? If we don't talk about it and start making corrections now, then the reality is we're going to be in far worse trouble than we are right now. I'm Hadari P.T. Brown, and this is my perspective.